All right, welcome back, everybody. So today we're going to be making a slightly longer contour drawing of one object. So this should take 20 minutes. We're just going to draw one thing. Remember, a contour drawing is a line drawing of just the edges around our object here. I'm going to do this belt. We are not shading anything in. We're not worrying about adding in shadows or anything like that. We're just looking at lines to create the edges of our object here, okay? So one difference about how we approach this one is that when we start this, I don't want us to just start in one end and then gradually work our way around the entire object into the other place, into the other side over here. We're going to kind of work the whole thing up in big, simple shapes at the beginning, and then gradually make things a little bit more detailed here. One of the keys to drawing is to just think about complicated things like this belt with all these little loops and twirls and everything as just big, simple shapes here. So there's this kind of big, roundish shape here in the middle. There's a little end over here, and then a little part that comes out over here. So the very first thing I want to do is I want to try to get a sense of where those are. So I'm just going to start by making kind of light. I don't know how dark this is showing up here. I might do it. I'm going to draw this a little darker than what you should be doing. You should be going pretty light when you do this, but I just want to make sure this actually shows up for you. So I know there's going to be the little buckle part. This thing over here is going to be around over here. The big loopy part is going to be somewhere over in this area. And then this part over here is going to be just kind of coming out over here like this. So I have something that kind of looks like a pretzel here at this point. I've got a lot of loose little lines going on over here. I'm thinking non-committal. We don't want to have just one dark line showing the edges of everything because we're never going to get it right. We want to think lots and lots of simple lines here at the beginning, and then we're going to gradually refine and make things better. So as I'm looking at this now, I'm feeling pretty happy about how this shape is going up here. This over here, I'm going to kind of change a little bit. So I want this to kind of round out a little more over here. I should have mentioned this. You probably want to have an eraser handy. At some point, you're going to make a mistake. It's bound to happen, right? So you don't want to do this in pen. Have an eraser handy for yourself. I have barely an eraser on the end of this, don't I? Wait, do I have a pencil here? Oh, look at that. New eraser. There we go. Okay. So we're going to go, I'm just going to kind of looking for this angle here, just trying to get that back in as well as I can. And then I can come back over here and we can try to firm up this side over here. So I'm going to have the front part of my belt kind of coming over here. And then it goes past the edge just a little bit. There's like a little dark part in here. I'm not going to worry about shading anything in, but we guys want to be aware of where that is. And then this part of the belt kind of angles down and then curves around like that. So I've got this curving part here coming out the front like so. And I'm not going to worry about all the complicated stuff over here yet. I'll come back to that when I get a little bit more established here. So I'm going to try to get this bottom of this part here a little bit more here. So that's going to kind of come out this way. And I'm just going to, I'm looking at all those little lines, those little folds, but I'm not trying to, I want to think kind of big shapes at the beginning too. I'm being aware of how these little edges kind of go in and out, but I'm also kind of looking at the big overall shape because I can always come back in and add that little part right there later on. So I'm just kind of trying to get big overall shape over here. So that's coming out like this, and then this is going to be angling in, kind of coming through over here. And then if we look at the little loop side over here, it kind of goes like up like this, and then it overlaps about here, and then this back side is just kind of coming out of it over here. So there's the back side of that. Kind of like that. So I've got something kind of like this going on so far. And then once I get to about here, I can kind of see there's like, I'm not sure if this is showing up from the point of view of where the camera is, but there's like a little part where this bottom part comes back down. So I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to get this next little loopy part coming in over here. And that's kind of angling down like that. And that kind of comes in about here. And then the other side of that belt. It starts about here, goes up, and then kind of curves into this. And the back side of it comes out over here. That seems weird. Maybe more like this. More of a harder edge to that spot. Okay, so about like that. And then it kind of goes underneath. This one goes on front of it over here and kind of angles down. Swoops in like so. And then this side over here is the back side of that. So now this is kind of turning into that. Okay, so I'm starting to get somewhere here where I can see that the belt kind of starts over here, travels along over here, goes around, does something. Oh, I think it becomes this part over here, and then swoops around and goes out over here. So that's where our belt is here. So that's kind of the general idea. There's still, as I'm looking at this thing, I can definitely see some little things in here I'm going to tweak, but I have kind of like the big kind of overall shape of it going on over here. And then down over here, once we get down up here where the belt buckle is, I can see that this little loop part, I'm going to start there. So that just kind of goes up a little higher than the belt, and then down a little lower than the belt down here. So I'm just going to go up. I think I'm starting about here, actually. So I go up a little higher, and then I go down a little lower, like so. So I can just see it kind of coming up like that. And then this part of the belt kind of extends out in here a little bit, and then it ends about here. And where it ends, we have this little metal, whatever you call that part of a belt, metal-y part, kind of coming off over here. So we're going to draw that little metal-y part. And I can see it kind of goes at an angle like this, and then it kind of juts out a little bit, and it goes, has like a little curve to it, almost like a very squished S, where it kind of goes out like this, and then it kind of comes out over here. And then this curvy part over here, we're just going to start it up over here. And again, it's going to start going pretty similar to the direction of the belt. It's going to kind of angle out like this. And then it curves around. And then it comes back over this way. And then it ends over here. So again, I have lots and lots of lines here. If you look at this whole section in here, there's like a million tiny little scribbly lines in here. I haven't erased anything yet. I'm just kind of drawing on top of what I've already drawn. Once I get something in there that I'm happy with, then I'll go back in and start to erase the parts that aren't really working all that well. And just kind of clean it up a little bit. So now that I've got kind of a general sense of where the strap is in here, we've got a little stitching is kind of going across over here, and I can just come back in here and take the eraser and just kind of clean up some of those edges in here too. And I can do the same thing as I kind of go back through the rest of this in the back over here too. I don't really see any little, I know there are belt loop holes down over here, but from my angle here, I'm really not seeing too many of them. So I'm just going to ignore the things that I don't see. So we want to end up with something, in the realm of this here. This should be something that you should spend 20 minutes on tops. And probably, 2 or 3 minutes of that is just going to be getting stuff together here, okay? You don't need to spend a ton of time on this. I just want you to get practice looking at an object, being really observant, trying to think about the big shapes, and then gradually simplifying. We will do a longer version of one of these next, which will be a little more complicated. So for this, just think kind of nice and simple. Don't pick, again, this would be a very boring object to try to just do because you'll be done in 2 seconds. This will be your drawing. You'll be like, done. So don't do this. Think something nice and interesting. Even if it ends up being like a really complicated thing to draw, don't stress out about making it perfect. It doesn't need to be Amazing. Again, the whole purpose of this is just to get used to looking and being very, very observant, okay? All right, turn this into the contour drawing assignment in this same folder on Schoology. Good luck.